Hey Cure fans, this is the Holy Hour, the All Cure podcast. I'm Gavin. Thank you so much for joining us again. Once for the first time, who knows? But I'm so happy to have you here, and great to share this podcast with you, devoted to the legendary alternative rock act, whatever you want to call them, The Cure. If that's what you're looking for, you have found it. Fucking gold mine of nothing but Cure talk. Well, that's not 100% true. Sometimes we stray a little, but that's not our fault. We're humans. We like to share things with you good people, and that's what we're doing. And we do have a unique episode for you this time. This is a bit of a trailer episode of some cool things to come. And we've been very lucky here at the Holy Hour. If you recall back, if you've been following the show, or even just the Cure's 2016 tour on some level, you know that the tour started around May, I believe it was, here in the U.S., in New Orleans. And we were very fortunate here at the Holy Hour podcast to cross paths with a wonderful lady, Arusha, who is a devoted Cure fan, has been such a huge fan for years, and just an all-around cool person, and is currently working on a documentary, Push, Cure fan documentary, that chronicled devoted fans following the Cure around 2000 of the Blood Flowers tour, and it's still in the works, and it's bound to be amazing. But she's really in the thick of it, and just a truly devoted fan, and on every level. And she, of course, was on many of the shows in the 2016 tour here in the U.S., and kind enough to get us some field recordings and give us, more importantly, her perspective from show to show. And we really got some great inside scoop from her. So I highly recommend going back and listening to those episodes of the Holy Hour. But if the future and the present is what you're all about, then stay tuned, because I'm happy to announce that she's decided to go on over to Europe and check out the last 7 shows of the European leg of this tour that wraps up the whole year and the whole tour. Around October, I believe, they started up again in Europe, and are starting to wind down now, and she's going to catch up with them in Spain and ride it out to the end in Wembley Arena in the UK there. And she's going to send us the scoop as she stumbles across it and gets like ultimate perspectives from wonderful people, new fans, old fans, casual fans, diehard fans, the whole works. I'm sure we'll see them all again in some European perspective of it all, and I can't wait. So I can't thank her enough, even before it all starts, of what we've got to piece together for you good people. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I'm sure I will. So I'll let her dive right into it. She really shares where she's at as a person before taking off here for Europe, and you know, it's a weird time right now for a lot of Cure fans, just the age that we're at, and where we're at as the country. And you know, her as a filmmaker, so starts out a little personal and then gets into, you know, what the tour has meant at this point to not her but a lot of us, I think. And it's really honest, and I can't thank her enough. So I'm gonna quit babbling and hand it over to her and just see where she's at from the perspective of a devoted fan ready to see the final leg of an epic tour. So here you go, Arusha.
This is Arusha from Push, a Cure fan documentary. Director, producer, sometimes editor, sometimes fundraiser, not lately. And in about 48 hours, I will be taking a cab to get on a plane to go to Spain to see, well, to embark on the last part of my Cure adventures for the year. And perhaps forever. I'm not sure. But I'll get to that in a minute. I will be joining the European tour as it reaches its end of 2016 in Bilbao, Spain. I'm going to Barcelona, Manchester, and the UK. And I thought it would be nice to sort of get back into the Cure fan journey as we as we all talked about this summer. And I hope to bring you some interviews and thoughts along the way in Europe. One would think that right now I would be beside myself in excitement, but being the person I am, I have to be honest, and I'm kind of anxious for several reasons. One being just the state of America right now. I don't know how anyone can do anything without thinking about Donald Trump and what he, I don't know. I'm 40 something and I've never faced an election like this. I mean, I remember Reagan. I remember both George Bush's, but I don't think it's ever really been like this. I mean, no president appointed so many horrible right-wing people and racist jerks into our government. And maybe I was too young to be conscious of what other people were saying in other countries, but, clearly we are about to embark on a journey of isolating ourselves from the rest of the world unless we can really work together to fight this. Anyway, so there's that, and I want to enjoy Europe every millisecond that I'm there, and not be preoccupied with what's going to happen in the future, because who the hell knows what's going to happen in the future. So that's that, but it has changed my my outlook on everything. I mean, had Hillary Clinton won the election as she won the popular vote, it would be different. So that's one thing. The second thing is that I entered this year, at this time last year, I had picked up my project again after it being dormant for years. I didn't look at the footage. I didn't pick it up. I gave up on it. And I always thought I would get back to it, but I just didn't know when. And last year, a lack of work afforded me time to get back to the footage. And I showed it to a lot of people, including some members of the band who were very supportive. And there was a definite wave of support that I got. So around this time last year, I was very creative, and then they just announced the tour, so it was very exciting, and we bought 8 million tickets online. It was crazy. I'm sure everybody remembers that. And then fast forward to the tour, which was incredible this year. But it was hard for me in the way that I was still searching for my, connection to this, the ideal that any filmmaker wants is to connect with the band and get the interview. But although the band are aware of what I'm doing, they were never really available for the interview, or anything like that, which doesn't surprise me on the one hand, on the rational side, because they were so busy. And I'm a tiny blip, I'm sure, on their radar of, well, especially Robert's radar of, I'm sure, the massive amounts of things that he gets proposed all the time. I mean, look at the amount of movies that are out now with The Cure in them. So I'm sure every day there's like, oh, hey, can we use your song in this? Can we use your song in that? Can we do this? We want to do that. Anyway, so, there's that side of it, but that doesn't mean that it's, not hard. As somebody who partially gave up on the project earlier, because although I had access to the band and I was given full permission to follow them around for several years, and tape some shows in the early 2000s, there's some loose ends that I was hoping to address this time, and that didn't happen. But onward and upward. So there's that. And then there's the ever-present, what the hell am I doing with my life syndrome. I don't know how all other Cure fans, feel when they spend loads of money and plan their trips to follow the Cure, but it's a really big deal for me. And I find that what it does, what following the Cure does for more than 2 or 3 shows in a year, or a concert here, a concert there, is it's kind of like a little stick of dynamite that blows open my reality. So regardless of what's going on with my Cure fan documentary, and regardless of what's going on with permission to use this song or that song, and fans being weird. Like, some fans are extremely supportive and I'm grateful, and other fans are not. And that's always weird. I don't understand why anybody would slag on somebody for trying to do something, even if you're not a success. So for all of you who are trying to write a book or have a piece of art that's collecting dust, or a song that you haven't finished, or an album that you haven't finished, I support you, because the process is where it's at. But anyway, I don't know. It's just a thing. When I go on these tours, I always start with, like, why am I doing this? Why can't I just do what is more responsible in my life? And then I do it. I go on the tour, and I come back with, like, a new perspective. And it's good. But it's also scary, because, like, since the first tour this summer, I've really had to re-examine a lot of things in my life. I've been reminded of a lot of elements of living that I miss, that I didn't have, at least for 5 or 6 years. Like, for 5 or 6 years, because of my career, I was unable to travel. And traveling is a big deal for me. Meeting people that are like-minded is a big deal for me. And I find them when I go to Cure shows and other concerts too. I mean, and I can really, you find people that you connect with anytime you go do something that you're passionate about. But I can honestly say, for me, it's music. And so this year, like, if I look back to this time last year compared to now, I can list at least a dozen people that I feel connected with, if not more, like 20 people that I feel like I have a stronger connection with now that I didn't know before the Cure tour in America. And those people, I hope that I can continue to get to know them better, even if it's remotely online. The other thing that's become apparent to me in this journey of, like, opening the documentary again and going out and shooting is, it's very weird as an independent filmmaker to go and shoot now with the knowledge of how fast and how immediate everything happens now. I mean, now you go to a concert and you have a Periscope and you have 2,000 people putting things online, footage of the Cure, and you have people giving reports. Everything is so immediate that making art, at least to me, has changed. I don't know. I mean, I still have to go about things the way that I do them, but I don't know. It's just a different experience now than it was, obviously, 10 years ago and 20 years ago and so on. There's a film out right now called Records Collecting Dust, which I just watched. It's available on Night Flight, which is a fantastic channel. You all should subscribe. It's like $30 a year. And it's these old punk rock dudes, like Henry Rollins and the lead singer of the Germs. I forget his name, but he's in a lot of documentaries. Loads and loads of people. Paul Jenkins from the Black Heart Procession is in it. Anyway, they're all sitting there being interviewed, and they're talking about their records. And it's kind of boring if you look at it in the terms of, it's a talking head with a record, and they're literally, you're watching them talk about it. But at the same time, to me, it was interesting because they're talking about a time period that I kind of grew up in. And now they're talking about a time period that's gone. Like going to the record store, meeting people, having people say, you should do this, you should do that, is kind of gone. So I wonder sometimes if this experience, if these experiences of following the Cure, or you can insert whatever you're passionate about now, like going to see a band play. If we don't have a place to go to, the local record store, the local anarchist cookbook, or baking, whatever, I'm flubbing my words, but like the quote unquote brick and mortar stores are becoming somewhat a thing of the past because so much is done online. I think our stories are being told on the road. And so I hope that you all have the patience to stay with me and participate in my cataloging of what we do. I think it's great. And I think it's great what Gavin and Donald are doing, with the podcast. And it's super fun. I love hearing their stories that are brought to you in, West Virginia, or, oh God, where is it? Asheville, Gavin? I fucking forgot. Anyway, because we get to go for a minute into their living room and into their spaces, and it just gives you, hearing the audio only gives you a different perspective than seeing it online. And it gives you a different perspective than seeing an edited film, right? Into the home base of the Holy Hour podcast, I will be recording as I go because it helps my project as much as, even if you decide that you don't want to use any of it, I'm still going to do it because it helps me in my process anyway. So on to the subject of the shows. I think we got, I'm sure the shows these shows in Europe are great. The Cure are still doing great. They've decreased their encores from 4 to 3. And they haven't varied their set list as much as some people have wanted. But I don't personally think that matters. Although, as my friend Antti from Helsinki, who I met this year, who's I feel a very kindred spirit, says he coined a new term called set lust. Set lust, everybody. Yeah, because we're like, oh my God, what if they play The Exploding Boy? What if they play M? What if they play At Night? Or some song off of, the last 2 albums.
All right, sorry to interrupt here, but I just cannot let this idea of set lust pass up. This too brilliant of a concept, and we're fortunate enough from Arusha to get Antti's definition straight from him. So let's hear him in his own words describe this new concept, set lust.
Yes, a few days ago I was writing to somebody about something, and I typed the word. Well, I was supposed to type the word set list, but I made a typo, and I typed set lust, and I was like, "Wow, that's actually a really good word," It actually means something. It means that you, and especially like now. The Cure are on tour, and probably everybody, well, at least all the fans, super fans, are expecting them to play, or wanting them to play, or lusting after certain songs. So yeah, that is something that set lust is. It means lusting after some particular songs to be played on the set list when you see them live.
It's always a different experience, but nobody can deny that they're always looking for the ultimate set list when it comes to The Cure, because there's so many songs that they could possibly pull out from their catalog. I mean, there's just so many songs. I think overall this year everyone's super excited about Burn being a mainstay in the shows. I've been, of course, a little disappointed to see Last Dance take the bench. That song for me has been my theme song for the year. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this will be my last dance or not with going to the shows. I'm wicked excited to see all my friends in Europe and just be in Europe seeing The Cure. I cannot state that enough. And once again, if anybody out there has the means to go and see a Cure show in a different country, I highly recommend it. It's incredible. So the last thing I wanted to bring up before I sign off, is we also had the release of Lawrence Tolhurst's book Cured this year, and the pleasure of him doing a book tour. I got to meet the guy. My friend Mike Moskowitz and I went twice. Mike, who I met on the tour this year, of course. Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, I don't know about you guys, but I don't meet people all the time that I relate to. You know what I mean? I just, that may say something about me or being a Cure fan or both, but I met a lot of really awesome people this year. I'm very grateful for that. But anyway, we went to see Lawrence Tolhurst, Lowell, speak, and that was fantastic, and his book is great. And so because of what he wrote in the book, I'm going to go to Crawley and I'm going to shoot, and I'm super excited about that. You know, it was like a light bulb, ding, why didn't I think of that? Well, you know what? I didn't think of it. Mike Moskowitz thought of it. He is such a diehard fan. He read the book a couple of times and sort of noted these pivotal places that were important to, you know, Lowell's journey as a member of The Cure. And again, I think that can relate to all of us. I think, again, although I'm anxious about going for several reasons, I'm also very excited and will be in it 100% no matter where the day takes me. And I hope that I can bring you some fun, some insight, and some shared common ground in my reports from Europe. All right, man.
All right, thanks so much, Arusha. We can't wait to hear what adventures and shenanigans you get into over in Europe. So thanks so much. I hope you have safe travels getting over there. By the time this airs, I think you'll already be in the lion's den. So we can't wait. So thanks so much. And so many good ideas there. We'll keep our coverage and our ears peeled and try to get these out to you as soon as possible. To keep them as relevant to when the shows happen as possible. But bear with us. If you go to any of these shows yourself on this last 7 shows of the tour, be sure to follow along and leave comments in the comments section on our Facebook page, The Holy Hour Podcast. We'd love to hear your perspectives if you agree, disagree, or just have personal experiences that you would also like to add to it. We would love to hear it. Also on Instagram, you can find The Holy Hour Podcast, where you can also keep on track of episodes to come, as well as just post whatever you got. We'd love for you to be a part of that page as well. And of course, if you just want to drop me a message, gavinconner@gmail.com is where you can do that. And be sure to subscribe on iTunes so you don't miss any of these. We'll try to throw these up, and they might pile up quick. You might miss one or two here or there. So keep subscribing, or subscribe once should do the trick. And that way nothing will get past you, and you'll get the episodes as soon as they post. And we'll kind of wrap it up early on that one. In the meantime, be sure to check out this film that Arusha has been working on, Push Cure Fan Documentary at curefandocumentary.com. And you can follow the progress of that and donate some money to help out. Would be awful nice of you, and a good Cure fan thing to do. And also, as the holiday season approaches, be sure to check out mixedupgifts.com, where you can find some cool Cure-related knickknacks for your friends and family, as well as tons and countless other cool things where you can find at mixedupgifts.com. And we thought we'd leave you here since we got a little bit of time. It's a short episode. We had a few extra minutes of Antti talking about his idea and concept of set list and further talk, since it's always fun just to talk about the variety and hopes and dreams of a Cure set list. And it never gets old. So here's some great perspective on this topic to talk us out of this episode. Special thanks to Arusha and Antti. Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts. Stay tuned for the European conclusion.
I think for me, the moment, I don't know, maybe it was the reflections in a way, because I mean, obviously we knew that you were going to play those 3 albums, but for the encores, I mean, I thought it would be the albums, and then probably some hits around the same time, or like from the early parts, and then suddenly they come back on stage and start doing all the B-sides, and I mean that was quite crazy in Sydney. Also, I think for me, a song that I didn't think I would ever have, or even anybody would have a chance to hear live, and what happened 4 years ago at Primavera in Barcelona when they started Just One Kiss. And that was, I mean, after that, for me, I mean, obviously, you know, they tend to surprise us occasionally. But I think probably, I think, I don't know. After hearing Just One Kiss live, after that I thought that anything is possible, and in a way it has been. I mean, 2 years ago, I never thought that I would hear Too Late live. I mean, and then at Royal Albert Hall in 2014, out of the blue, they do that, or like Man Inside My Mouth, about approximately 2 years ago as well. So yeah, I mean, anything is possible. But with this tour, I think we got the Cure fans, and especially the people who follow the set list or who go to the shows a lot. We got spoiled, I think, with the US tour, because at the beginning there was so many songs that you'd never, I mean, I didn't think I could ever hear The Exploding Boy or This Twilight Garden or All I Want, or what else? Anyway, I mean, plus those new songs as well. So you kind of start to expect them to pull out all these rare songs like all the time. Like, and I don't want to say disappointed, but I've been a little bit surprised that they haven't done any rare songs in Europe, like the songs that they haven't done before. Or, I mean, they haven't played The Exploding Boy, they haven't played Screw, and those songs. And I've been, and I mean, they haven't even done Pornography Encore in Europe. So I have been a little bit, I don't want to say disappointed, because I mean, still the sets are really good. But then again, it's like, especially when you go see them a lot, you kind of start to, you forget that majority of the people are just there for that night. So obviously they have to kind of make the set to mostly cater those people who are there for just that one night. But the people that go to a lot of shows, I mean, I'm not, lying if I say that sometimes I feel like, okay, I've heard this song so many times, and they have all these songs, even the songs that they know how to play, that they have rehearsed. Why don't they play those? What, just one song? And but it's in a way like how do you say like the hunger grows the more you eat. I don't know if that's a saying in, at least that's how we say in Finland anyway. So yeah, I don't know, but still I think for me, Just One Kiss, Primavera Sound Festival Barcelona 2012, I almost fainted when that started. Also, now that reflections of the reflections from the US shows of Reflections are like 5 years ago now. The second night in New York when they did Due Hansa, that was, I mean, come on, that was really special. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Hello, this is Jason Cooper. You're listening to the Holy Air podcast.